Good morning once again, and thanks so much for joining us. Now, let's wrap up the day with a very huge interview. We'll take a look at the NPP's conference, the NDC, why it was not there. We'll take a look at the president's speech and other speeches from the former president as well as the UK Conservative rep. We'll also try and look at exactly how the NDC is putting its house in shape ready for 2020. My guest is a huge one, the General Secretary of the NDC. General Mosquito is here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hope you're doing great.
I'm doing great.
Thanks so much. Let's start the conversation this way. The memorial service for the former Vice President, how did it go, and the arrangement for the 1 week and then the funeral proper?
Well, when we lose a member like that, we defer to the customs and his own wishes, the wishes of their family. So in this particular case, after the loss, we engaged the family, and everything was indicating that they were not going to do a full-blown 1 week celebration, right. And that his wishes and the wishes of the family are that there will be a 1 week memorial church service. And so that was what we planned around.
Okay, so there's not going to be any 1 week customary thing like in Cape Coast?
No, nothing anywhere. And so the final funeral arrangement would then be announced at the 1 week event. And so that was why we did the 1 week Friday evening from 3 p.m. to 6. So we finished with the 1 week memorial service, and at that service, when we were closing, the family elder came to announce that apart from the church service, no other activity should be held anywhere, to commemorate that 1 week, because that is the wish of the family and the wish of the deceased.
I see.
And so 1 week, as far as we are concerned, has ended. And the announcement was to the effect that the final funeral rites will be held around 27th of this month. They don't want to wait for a very long time, so everything is just a crash program that will be planned.
Weekend.
Yes,
to wrap up
that
and find him a fitting burial.
And the funeral service will be held also in Accra International Conference Center. The body will be laid in state there, and the service itself will be held inside there. After that one, there would be a private burial to be attended by people only on invitation. Yeah, so that was the information that was ready and that was released. Since then, the committee has been meeting, and so if there are any further issues that we want the public to know, we'll make it available to the public.
Great. Why did NDC not turn up for the NPP's conference?
I thought the reason should be obvious. First of all, the state itself, apart from NDC declaring a period of mourning, the state itself has also declared a period of mourning, and the flags, both NDC flags and state flags, wherever they're hanging, are flying at half-mast. And even as at this morning, the flags at the presidency are still flying at half-mast. So if this is the contribution of the state, then you will come to think about what should be the contribution of the people who are affected, that is NDC and the family. If you realize, I stopped talking to the press since his death, and so the first time I spoke to the press was after the memorial service, and it had to do with arrangement about the funeral and my personal relationship and everything about that death. And so we were invited on this particular occasion to the NPP Congress, and I received those letters on Thursday, afternoon, when everybody had left to prepare for the Friday event. So it wasn't possible to have a meeting of my executives to take a decision. And so I just circulated the information and indicated that we will all be meeting at the 1 week celebration and then see what could be done. So when we met and the announcement for the funeral, the date for the funeral so close and other things, the other engagement that we will be involved in, it became clear that no member of the National Executive will be available to attend the function. Then luckily, in attendance was His Excellency, the Vice President. So immediately after the event, I approached him and thanked him that, well, my brother, we usually call ourselves my brother. I also respond, my brother. My brother, we want to thank you. We are touched by your presence. And that I personally have heard your name being announced, that you were already in Koforidua and so on. So we didn't think that you'll be able to make it. And even if you had not made it, you would have a good excuse. But you defied everything and came. So we want to thank you very much. But however, as you have heard, and then the appreciation of the situation now, it will not be possible for us to send a delegation to your conference. So can you communicate this information and our best wishes to the Congress, that they should forgive me for this. This is the very first time ever since I became a General Secretary that I have neither gone to the event myself or nor sent a representation. So they must understand the difficult circumstances. So we thought that this information would be relayed. And indeed, listening to the various speeches at the Congress, the President himself acknowledged this heavy loss and so on. So it didn't take a rocket science, even if we had not sent any such information. It didn't take any rocket science to know why NDC will be absent at such a function, except anybody who wants to do maybe a mischief. But I concede that as a Vice President, there are so many things on top of his head.
Especially when it's an informal conversation.
Especially when it is an informal conversation. So I concede that he might have forgotten. But I cannot forgive him when it was actually being announced that NDC should come and deliver a solidarity message when he was present. Whatever forgetfulness he must have been suffering, it could have occurred to him that, well, the General Secretary himself spoke to me about this thing, so it is because of ABC that they are not here. That would have put paid to all this noise that's going around. And let me tell you, my brother, it benefits us more to attend such events than it does to the NPP itself. Because I go there and I say things that are not pleasant to them. I point out truths that are not pleasant to them. So I enjoy attending their functions. And if you doubt our what do you call it? Our disposition for comradeship among the political parties, look at our history. Anytime NDC wins elections, the NPP is absent at the declaration of results. It is only when NPP wins that you see an NDC people sitting to listen to the declaration. That should tell you something about the attitude of NDC.
So you're suggesting that when Professor Mills was being sworn in, the NPP did not
I said declaration of
okay,
I didn't talk about swearing.
Okay,
yes.
right.
They will not attend. In the case of the immediate part, the 2016 elections, I was there. You saw me. They declared results. I had the NPP people represented there, and we did. In fact, when people were calling for a boycott of the inauguration, again, I was there. You understand? And all NPP senior people will tell you that it is not even about party events, official party events, but even funerals, another social event. If no NDC person is there, you will see Asiedu Nketia there. Ask Nana Akufo-Addo himself. Ask President Kufuor. Ask Frema. They will tell you that I enjoy attending their functions. So they shouldn't make it look like they are now going to lecture me about the importance of inter-party relations.
Quickly before we move to others, if someone asks you that, you say you see the letter on Thursday.
Yeah.
Couldn't you have spent just 10 minutes to put down 2 paragraphs suggesting that the party is unable to attend because of ABCD and dispatched it to the party headquarters?
Mind you, we had all gone home to prepare for the following day's event. So when I received it with tags, with the party tags here, so even if you want to call somebody from Koforidua, you may be able to email the statement, but the person will have to come back to Accra to take the accreditation tag before he's allowed to even enter. So I tried calling my colleague on the other side there, John. I tried calling John. His phone was not going through. And they had already moved their secretariat to Koforidua. Now, unlike the situation which I had with Nano Hininto and Sir John, where we were a telephone call away from each other. In the case of John, it has been a little bit problematic. You call. There are times you are lucky, it goes through. But he will never call you. But in the previous, so that is the thing. And then, when we were preparing for their Kumasi Congress, I kept pestering their lives. Call Sir John and find out. Kept pestering them. When is my accreditation coming? Whether you invite me or not, I will be there to come and tell you what you don't want to hear. So it was me who was rather pestering them for this. So I didn't care whether there was a formal letter for invitation and so on. I wanted this thing. And I was the first general secretary, substantive general secretary, who himself appeared at an MPP function personally, when they had never attended our function, internally. And to tell you what, they themselves will tell you, when I am present at MPP functions, I get more applause than NDC functions. So what will prevent me from attending these functions?
I see.
So I'm surprised, but I think that they were pleasantly surprised that I wasn't there because of the lot of things that are in the atmosphere. They thought that they will be receiving missiles from me.
I see.
With that huge world stage platform where everybody will be listening and their leadership are gathered there, I'm telling them to their face. So they were happy that I couldn't make it. But they want to divert the attention of Ghanaians from the issues that emerge at the Congress.
That's exactly where we're going.
And so that's why they are spending so much time talking about, since when did they enjoy my presence in their function?
Okay, now to the issues. But before that, would you lodge a formal protest?
To whom?
To the party?
No.
Okay. Now, let's end it there. Now to the issues. The party has elected executives for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
The conference itself.
Yeah.
What were the pickouts for you?
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't get time to listen to all the statements myself. But I listened to the statement of the solidarity message from the member of the Conservative Party.
Right.
And I bowed down my head.
You're worried about it?
Because I thought that it was a befitting description about the conduct of MPP. I'm worried because they may extend it to cover the whole country as if we didn't know how to apply our resources. Because he did make that point very, very clear, that they were behaving as if they didn't know how to apply their resources. and it wasn't good. And this is somebody coming from a party in government in UK, and from a country where we go begging that they should give us resources. If that person comes to tell, if somebody from there comes to tell us that we didn't know how to apply resources, it's something that the nation should be worried about.
So it's a general problem?
And then...
Is it a problem of the NPP or a general problem?
I think in this particular case, he was talking about NPP.
But is it a general
because
problem?
I don't think it is a general problem. You see, when issues emerge and they are being discussed, the only escape route that, the favorite escape route for NPP is that, oh, he was talking about the whole Ghana. He was talking about this, he was talking. This is a member of the Conservative Party who will never attend an NDC event. An NDC will never invite him to our event. Because at the global level, we have the left and the right. NPP belongs to the rightist parties, and we belong to the leftist parties. And in fact, in the leftist family, by the grace of God, I happen to be the vice president of the organization that all the leftist parties belong, that is Socialist International. And they have their own organization. So our organization, you have parties like the Labour, the French Socialist Party, the Danish Socialist Party, and all socialist and social democratic parties around the globe. And they also have their conservative parties, including the Republicans with Donald Trump and all their group. And we belong to the other side, Obama's group and all this other side. So we learn from each other, and we have the same principles that we pursue. Okay. So when we are attending, when they are holding, congresses and conferences, we invite each other. As I sit here, I've been invited to the Labour Party conference that is going to happen very soon. Okay. So if we have the capacity, we want to invite, we may also as well invite the French Socialist Party or the Labour Party and so on to attend.
So in this case, it was
so this was somebody, yes, NPP, referring to NPP, and not anybody else. Because we learn from each other, the best practices from each other. So when he comes here and he sees that we are demonstrating a worse practice, then he will be worried and he will talk about it. And that's why he spoke about it.
The buses saga.
Yeah.
Why is the NDC calling for a probe?
Thank you very much. It is not about NDC alone. This morning I heard the National House of Chiefs also calling for a probe. And other civil society organizations have started entering the fray. So I guess it is not a partisan issue. It is something that is a threat to our democracy, which we need to check. First of all, I don't know how much time we have, but
we don't have
nobody knows. Nobody knows who actually is doing the procurement, whether it is Freddie Blay as a person or NPP as an organization, because they keep changing the goalposts. Initially, Freddie Blay announced he will provide buses if they voted for him and so on and so forth. And then he came on the attack. Then 3 days later, the response came that it wasn't Freddie Blay as a person, it was NPP as an organization. Then that one too became subject to attack from the other contestants within NPP that, well, if this is a party project and we are all party members, how come you alone are taking credit and calling for voters to vote for you because of the provision of buses? Then the narrative changes again to something else, to guarantees and all type of things. So the whole thing is shrouded in some secrecy, and the nation should be worried. More so when you have Freddie Blay heading one of the most sensitive organizations in this country as far as our economy is concerned, and that is the GNPC,
It's only a board chair. It doesn't take charge of day-to-day running.
Which controls our resources. Okay? So it must be a cause of worry. So it must be investigated. If for nothing at all, because of that position he holds, and suddenly the type of wealth he's seen to be flaunting, in any civilized democracy, they will not need any prompting from a minority party. The institutions of good governance will descend on him to try to find out. Because by self-confession, said he paid $3 million down payment. Okay? Where from that $3 million and so on, we should know. Yes. So that $3 million, when you convert it, it's getting to about 15 million Ghana cedis.
Let me ask you.
As down payment. Then, apart from that, the fact that these buses are going to be run by a state organization on behalf of the party, that is the State Transport Company, which is in that business already. So you have a state organization in the business of transportation competing with other private organizations. And now you are going to bring a party fleet of buses and put them under that state organization so that they are
running it.
They are running it.
What is the party?
As a competitor.
The party bringing the
as a competitor.
If it were individuals, that would have been fine.
If that is a policy issue, they would have brought it, but even that one will be subject to scrutiny by Ghanaians to see whether it is proper. But in this particular case, the party appointed the managing director and is being paid by the taxpayer and is running a state transport company that is competing with other private companies. Then you will come and put the basis of a political party to which the managing director belongs. So in the first place, the managing director is representing Ghanaians and he's signing this agreement on behalf of Ghanaians with his own party.
I see.
There are issues, very major issues around it.
You raised Togbe Afede, okay?
Yeah.
And so if you listen to it, he said that there was a party that built a $20 million edifice as a headquarters. We didn't see anything. We allowed you to go now. Somebody has bought buses. We should take a look at it. So you think that the NDC's edifice was investigated? And so this one should be investigated?
Why didn't anybody call for investigation? Because in the first place, there was this was a project that we're putting up gradually. And at every Congress, as a chief executive of the party, I report the progress to Congress, openly to everybody. Now, after Congress, if media houses are interested in finding out the details about costing, location, whatever, you wouldn't approach me.
So no one called for it?
Nobody even approached me for anything.
Did you spend 20 million?
All that listen, I'm just explaining
because we
that.
don't have a lot of time.
Yes. So all that I saw was that this Freddie Blaze newspaper, this same Freddie Blaze, his newspaper, then splashed on the front page pictures with a cost of $20 million. Wherever he got that cost from, nobody knew.
So he didn't spend $20 million?
Not at all. And if they had proper engineers in their party, they should know that that edifice there doesn't cost anything like that.
How much did
but they
spend?
put this thing in the minds of people and kept repeating it, like the Russians and the Soviet people have said that lies repeated several times assumes the semblance of truth, and that is what Togbe Afede was referring to.
How much
So I was called subsequently to talk about the costing, and I said that, look, if you encourage this type of journalism, from here we'll get to a point where you will be walking on the street, somebody will say you are wearing a brown pant, and then when you say it's not true, they say then undress and let us see your pant. So that is not the way to go, and because of that, I am not going to tell any pressman how much it costs. There are state institutions in this country which have the responsibility of investigating. We have Electoral Commission where we file our final accounts and so on. So if anybody is interested in anything, they can approach any of these things. We will be open for investigation.
Okay, well,
nobody went there, and they keep on keeping this thing. Now you are doing something, we are referring to it, when you have all this opportunity, more than 4 years to look into it, and now you are saying that because you said 20 million, I say it's not true, and because of that, I'm not going. So it means that you can do everything, and I cannot comment on it. Our things are there. And in fact, my call is for state institutions to do the investigation.
Okay.
I'm not calling Freddie Blade to come and sit here and probably to talk about, to give me information. Because when he does so, I won't believe him. So who says that whatever I say here will be believed by them too? And that is why there are state institutions that have the responsibility.
How did you fund the headquarters?
I'm saying that go and refer to the state institutions. They will find out the source of our funding.
They have all the information.
No, I'm saying that the investigation I am calling for, okay, I'm saying that if anybody, I'm calling for investigation into this acquisition of buses and into the construction of the NPP headquarters too, okay? Because we are talking about our headquarters, 6 months, it took us close to 6 years or so to build our office. 6 months into office, they cut a short for the beginning of the construction of their office, and they are claiming that it will be bigger and more modern than even the NDC headquarters. The short was cut by the First Lady. The construction is ongoing. So if they claim by their own, if you tell a lie, it comes back to haunt you. If they claim that our office is 20 million, then what they are claiming will be bigger than ours.
Okay, so we should find theirs first.
No, I'm not saying we should find them. I'm saying that whoever is interested in pursuing whatever they think about us, they should call for, they should approach the same state institutions to do those things. I'm not worried about it. But I'm calling for this probe. If anybody is interested, we are not blocking anybody from calling for any other probe for questions they don't understand. And there are issues about the capacity of the Universal Merchant Bank to grant a single loan to a ruling party to the tune of close to 60 million Ghana cedis, and so on. They are all worrisome development. When the same local banks are complaining that they don't have capacity to even meet their minimum capital. If you are in a position to grant this amount of loan to one customer, and then you are complaining about this.
General, and banks have expertise and the professional knowledge to do these things. Certainly, that would have been done after thorough, prudent due diligence is being made. You know that. I'm not
saying that. Don't let us draw conclusion that some banks can do it, so therefore this bank has done it.
Right.
So we are worried about this. Let us proceed and investigate it. We are also aware of the history of this particular bank, even though some shares might have changed hands as we speak. The history of Merchant Bank with Ghanaian politics is not a pleasant one. And it has never been a pleasant one. So
your call is for a probe?
Yes. And then Kwesi Nyantakyi in that tape also referred to a local financial institution through which he will be doing the money laundering. He will be laundering the $11 million to Ghana. And he said it so, what do you call it? So easily that, oh, this is not a problem. We have a local financial institution through which we can do these transfers. He's claiming that he has a local financial institution that will be engaged in money laundering. I'm sure the financial intelligence unit should have gone in to look at these things at this stage. So there are a lot of things wrong. You know, it is this bank that NPP alleged that it was Ibrahim Mahama who had bought it. So are we saying that it's Ibrahim Mahama's bank that is giving the loan to NPP now? There are issues we should look at. Are we saying that NPP came together and said that President Mahama should be impeached because his brother has taken a loan from Merchant Bank? Now, just a brother relationship and a loan which was taken at the time he wasn't a president.
General,
so now you are talking about a whole NPP party, including the president, including everybody. They have gone for a loan which is even bigger than what Ibrahim Mahama has taken. So what do we do?
You are not impugning any wrongdoing. You're only asking for a probe.
For a probe, that's what happened.
Grateful. The Electoral Commission
because there is a potential for wrongdoing. And that is the reason why there is investigation. If I knew the facts, they wouldn't call for the probe. There wouldn't be the need for investigation. That's why I'm saying that these issues must be investigated. The relationship of that bank with government, how much government monies are being saved there, and for which reason it could trigger, it will convince them to do some quid pro quo arrangement to give fund this type of facility to NPP and so on. These are all issues that need to be investigated.
Let's move to the Electoral Commission now.
Yeah.
So, where is the NDC now as far as the EC is concerned?
We are saying that everything that this president has done at the Electoral Commission is wrong. Everything. Completely wrong. And we are worried not because we think that some new electoral commissioners, when they come on board, will rig election for NPP or anything. In fact, if you win your elections, you win. You see? But we are worried that, in fact, when President Obama came here, he said that what Africa needs is not strong men. What Africa needs is strong institutions. And so, if we had nurtured a commission up to this stage, when it has become a showpiece for Africa, and in fact, our commissioners are sent on secondment and whatever to assist other developing, the election management authorities of other developing countries all over the world. We should ourselves be interested in protecting that institution. Okay, not that one alone, but other institutions of good governance. The government has entered the central bank, which is supposed to be independent, and has tamed the bank now, put it under their control. They are doing so with all other governance institutions. They have entered the police service, the CID, put it under their control. They have done this, they have done this. If we are not careful, by the time these 4 years ends, you have one strong macho president, but without state institutions of good governance. And so that is why we should be worried. I participated in writing the constitution of this republic. And one of the major issues that confronted us at that time was that how do we get, if we are going to build a democracy, how do we get an independent electoral management body? Because our history wasn't pleasant at all. We were using sole commissioners who had never been able to take a decision that did not go in favor of the government and announced it. There are occasions where one commissioner will organize elections, and when it is clear that the sitting government has lost, then the government will move tanks to chase him out, appoint another commissioner for him to come and declare results of an election he didn't hold or he knew nothing about. So how do we protect an election administration body?
And that was the Electoral Commission.
And that was why we moved from a sole commissioner to a commission. And then we have developed this thing up to this stage, and we appear to be making progress. The protections that we put into the Constitution, there are constitutional guarantees to safeguard the independence of the commissioners. And their core mandate is to organize elections and have the courage to declare results, even if the ruling party loses. They have so far discharged this mandate well. According to the testimony of President Akufo-Addo himself, the day he was making his first speech, he commended highly this Ghana Electoral Commission for being able to organize these elections and putting in there. Now, there are supplementary mandates that have to do with the running of offices, procurements, and other things there. So they cannot be the basis of removing a commissioner. Otherwise, there will be no commission.
General, if procurement breaches cannot be the basis for
yes.
Removing a commissioner, yeah. then we might as well throw away those laws.
No, you won't throw away those laws. There are procurement laws. And when those procurement laws are implemented within the organization, they don't lead to the removal of the leadership of the organization. There are ways of going about it. In fact, if those
what ways?
Those issues that I have heard about, okay,
awarding of contract and stuff
awarding
like that.
of contracts. The report didn't mention anywhere that anybody has engaged in corruption. Nowhere did the report indicate that they have any of them had engaged in corruption. The only issue that got close to their core mandate was the issue about transfer of votes, because it is that one that can compromise the results.
That's an illegality.
Yes.
Right.
That is something that can compromise the results of an election. And that one had nothing to do with the chairperson of the Electoral Commission. It had to do with Amadou Sule, for instance. That is the only thing that got close to their core mandate. Apart from that, issues about chairperson of Electoral Commission awarding a contract for legal services without putting it on paper, then it leads to removal of this thing. Let me tell you what.
Quickly.
When I was in Parliament, we undertook a survey. We actually went countrywide to do hearings about allegations of corruption within the judicial service. We produced a report with the conclusion, a parliamentary committee on judiciary produced a report that the judiciary was indeed, there was indeed rampant corruption in the judiciary. It didn't lead to the removal of the then Chief Justice. You understand? Because the administrative things that happen under him, the administrative which could be cured. And so we indicated it to the Chief Justice, and he came and declared that he will work on those ones. So if, what do you call it, National Procurement Authority had come to look at these issues and they see these infractions, they can call them, issue a management paper, and they'll look at those ones and correct them. That should not lead to the removal of commissioners.
Okay.
Otherwise, look, when MPs are going to Parliament, they say that they cannot be arrested on the way and so on. If you are discussing something about the police service and the MTTU and the corruption in MTTU on the floor of Parliament, and an MP makes a statement there, and he's on his way to Parliament the next day, he can be arrested for wrong driving or jumping a traffic light if that one leads to the removal of that MP. So who can then go and discuss these issues? That's why those protections are there.
Sorry, I have to wrap up.
The presidency, there are reports to the, what do you call it, the Public Accounts Committee about certain breaches of procurement and other things at the presidency. It doesn't lead to the removal of the president. The immediate past Chief Justice, there were issues about her purchasing government land. It didn't lead to the removal of the Chief Justice. He was advised to return the land, and she complied. She remained the same. So if you hang the removal of otherwise constitutionally protected persons on things like procurement and other things, then you can't protect anybody.
It doesn't come under Article 146.
No.
Misstated misbehavior.
No, my understanding of that, misstated misbehavior would be about botched elections and mishandling of elections and so on. So if a referee judges a game and declares somebody a winner, then you come out and say that the whistle he used was procured wrongly. So that referee has not done his work well, so let's remove him. Is that what we want to have in this? I
have to wrap up this conversation. General, I'm so grateful for your time with us this morning. General Mosquito, the General Secretary of the NDC, talking to me there. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you. And of course, we're grateful for you staying out there to be part of the show. Sorry, we've taken some 10 minutes of your time. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6. My name is Bright Nanam. I was here with Dr. Nanam Ajman. Have a good morning once again and be productive.